pamilya. Nga ano, Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the sixth floor lecture hall of Universitas Islam Internasional Indonesia, Rectorate Building for the annual International Conference on Islam, Science and Society 2025. A friendly reminder to all participants, please switch your smartphones to silent or vibrate to keep the session conducive throughout its entirety. We encourage you to fill in the front rows to provide space in the back rows for other participants who are coming in late. Thank you very much for your cooperation. Honorable Rector of Universitas Islam Internasional Indonesia, Professor Jamhari, Rectors of the Islamic Higher Education Institutions, the UIII Executive Board members, respectable guests, distinguished speakers, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome back to the second day of the 24th Annual International Conference on Islam, Science and Society 2025. The grand theme, Islam, Eco-Theology and Technological Transformations, Multidisciplinaries Innovation for an Equitable and Sustainable Future. I'm Fahru Rinaldi, and it is truly an honor to host as your MC in this forum. On behalf of the organizers and committee, we extend our highest appreciation for your participation today and the day before. AICIS Plus 2025 was possible due to the unwavering support of our sponsors, Ruji Networks, Huawei, Sentra Medica Hospital, Bank Mandiri, Bank Syariah Indonesia, and Telkom Indonesia. Moreover, I hope you all had a refreshing evening after an insightful and productive first day yesterday. It's wonderful to see so many familiar faces returning with the same energy and perhaps a few extra cups of coffee in hand. Inshallah, today we'll continue the momentum with another lineup of thought-provoking discussions, breakout sessions, and collaborative exchanges that will take our conversations even further. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now proceed with the second day with a keynote speech from Professor Shahram Akbarzadeh. Professor Shahram is the director of Middle East Studies Forum at the Alfred Deakin Institute for Citizenship and Globalization, Deakin University, Australia. So without further ado, please welcome with a round of applause, Professor Shahram.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much for having me. It's a privilege to join you today for this conference. I have to acknowledge that my own area of expertise is actually Middle East politics. So I'm venturing out into a new field of study, and I really look forward to your feedback and your comments on what I'm trying to do here. Today, I'm going to look at Indonesia's foreign policy making in relation to Palestine and the role of Islam in it. So I have done some work on Islam in foreign policy making in the context of the Middle East. But as I mentioned, Indonesia is a new field of study, so bear with me. In this presentation, I'd like to examine the role of Islam in foreign policy making, especially as an ethical and moral register in Indonesia's policy towards Palestine. Islamic ethics, rooted in values of justice, compassion, and consultation, offer substantive and procedural ideals that can inform state behavior. Far from being static or rigid, Islamic political thought has often been interpreted as consistent with humanitarian and democratic norms, though this alignment remains interpretive and very much context-specific. Indonesia's support for Palestine self-determination offers a case where it's possible to trace Islamic principles in public diplomacy while policy itself remains primarily pragmatic. During Israel's war on Gaza, Indonesia evoked moral notions of justice, compassion that are central to Islamic discourse. These are also embedded in the state ideology of Pancasila and humanitarian framework. So while Islam was never adopted as an official framework for foreign policy, Islamic ethical discourse has gained prominence in public statements in the past decades, especially during Joko Widodo's presidency. This became very evident. The public commitment to Islam Wasatiyya, moderate Islam, as you well know, is a deliberate effort to promote it during his presidency, and that could suggest two different directions. One situates Islam as a normative framework. The other sees Islam as an instrument of the state. If we push this analogy further, one is idealistic while the other is instrumental. But the real world experience could present a middle ground where idealism and pragmatism can reinforce each other. I would suggest that Indonesia's response to the war in Gaza represents such hybridity or middle ground. So it's possible to promote ideals that were ascribed to Islam and at the same time use that to advance state interests, promoting the state of Indonesia as a serious global player and a leader in the Muslim world. So So the assault on Gaza by Israel provided an opportunity for Indonesia to express this moral position publicly while upholding multilateral diplomacy and the rule of law as the mechanism of enforcement. My argument here is that realist pragmatism in Indonesia's foreign policy is increasingly articulated with reference to ethical norms that are visibly grounded in moderate Islam. So in responding to the genocide in Gaza, Jakarta references Islamic moral vocabulary while presenting its conduct in terms of humanitarian law and Pancasila pluralism. This approach resonates domestically and also internationally. Indonesia's democratic pluralism and vibrant Muslim civil society expects to see Islamic moral principles to guide state actions, while Indonesia's commitment to the application of international humanitarian law enhances its global standing. Now, some common ground on Islamic political thought, I'm sure you're all familiar with this. Political thought provides a rich vocabulary relevant to foreign policy. Concepts such as Adl, Rahma, Shura, Amana, Nusr, all frame an ethical approach to governance, but also to international external relations. So from classical scholars such as Al-Mawardi, who viewed political authority as a sacred trust directed towards public welfare, to more modern thinkers such as Fazlur Rahman or Abdullahi al-Nain, Islamic thinking has evolved dynamically. Rahman emphasizes that Quranic ethics comprise enduring moral imperatives adapted through ijtihad or reasoned interpretation. So al-Nain further argues that Islamic ethics can coexist with international human rights as well as democracy. Taken together, these perspectives illustrate that Islamic thought can serve as the ethical compass, though not a prescriptive foreign policy framework. As a result, Islamic ethics remain interpretive, very much reliant on ijtihad, if you like, and based on human agency to interpret it. This makes it adaptive. Now, Islamic ethics offer substantive and procedural guidelines. Substantively, Islamic ethics advocates restraint in conflict, protection of civilians, justice for the oppressed. The Prophet Muhammad's injunctions to his commanders, prohibiting them to harm non-combatant or destruction of crops, illustrate early ethical norms that scholars later paralleled with aspects of international humanitarian law. These correspond These correspondence are interpretive. I'm emphasizing the human factor again. Procedurally, Shura consultation embodies participatory governance, encouraging deliberation on matters of war and peace. Similarly, the concept of maslaha, or public interest, grants flexibility, enabling adaptation of principles to serve justice and public welfare within a changing context. Together, these processes sustain an ethical framework that shape outlooks without dictating outcomes. So Islam Wasatiyya, just a few words on that in Indonesia. Of course, this is probably, I should be listening to you about Islam Wasatiyya in this context, in this room. Indonesia's support for Palestine has combined anti-colonial heritage, constitutional ideals, and ethical diplomacy. The moral foundation of this stance derives from 1945 Constitution, its commitment to oppose oppression and uphold justice. Sukarno articulated this principle in 1955 Bandung Conference, where Palestinian self-determination was framed as part of a global decolonization process. So from Sukarno to Prabowo, our current president, successive presidents have maintained this commitment to Palestinian statehood as both a moral and a political imperative. Naturally, there have been some variations in emphasis between different presidents. During Suharto's New Order era, religion remained peripheral to official foreign policy making. Despite his personal gestures toward Islam, such as performing a pilgrimage, cultivating ties with Muslim states, Suharto kept Islam out of foreign policy. The recognition of the State of Palestine in 1988 and the establishment of Embassy of Palestine in Jakarta in 1990 represented continuity in Indonesia's historical anti-colonial positioning rather than a new Islamic term. The celebrated late Indonesian scholar Azumari Azra described this as a policy of ambiguity in which Islam was invoked symbolically but lacked substantive policy weight. In the post-1998 democratic period, this landscape gradually changed. Under Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono, and especially Joko Widodo, Islamic ethics were repositioned as a soft power asset that's aligned with Indonesia's pluralist democracy. Jokowi promoted Islam Wasatiyya as a marker of national identity and a diplomatic tool to project Indonesia's moral leadership in the Muslim world. In his 2016 OIC summit speech in Jakarta, Jokowi invoked Sukarno's anti-colonial legacy and called for a unified Muslim response and Muslim solidarity with Palestine. This is way before Gaza. So declaring that Indonesia's stance was an extension of its founding principles. By the early 2020s, Islam Wasatiyya has become institutionalized within Indonesia's international outreach. The Religious Moderation Handbook that was published by Mora in 2021 in English explicitly positioned moderate Islam as a vehicle of strategic soft power, consistent with secular governance and popular democracy. The National Medium-Term Development Plan of 2020-2024 identified religious moderation as a component of cultural diplomacy, signaling an official linkage between domestic pluralism and international relations. This transformation has really framed Islam as a source of ethical diplomacy for Indonesia. Equally important is the domestic dimension. Indonesia's pluralist democracy enables a dynamic feedback loop between state diplomacy and civil society advocacy. So Nahdlatul Ulama, Muhammadiyah, and various NGO organizations, one of which organized the Indonesia hospital in Gaza, channel public solidarity into international diplomacy. These actors amplify narratives of compassion, justice, grounded in Islamic moral reasoning, while reinforcing Indonesia's commitment to international humanitarian law. So during 2024, Israeli offensive in Gaza, the defense minister, now president, Prabowo Subianto, declared Indonesia's humanitarian role in Gaza as both an Islamic responsibility and a human duty, intertwining ethical symbolism with pragmatic support. So taken together, the evolution of Indonesia's Palestine policy illustrates how Islamic values, once peripheral, have become repositioned to be part of Indonesia's soft power under its democracy. Islam Wasatiyah functions less as a prescriptive doctrine than a diplomatic register through which Indonesia fuses Islamic ethics, pluralist governance, and international humanitarian norms. And this mix enhances Indonesia's legitimacy as both a Muslim majority democracy and a principled actor on a global stage. Now, balancing this with geopolitics can be tricky. So what I propose here is that Indonesia's moral purpose, moral posture towards Gaza is best captured as a blend of ethical, Islamic, and pragmatic diplomacy. Officials routinely invoke Islamic and humanitarian values such as adl, compassion, solidarity, to justify policy decisions that operate through multilateral institutions and international law. This synthesis exemplifies ethical pragmatism. And that's the statecraft mode in which Islamic discourse sustains domestic legitimacy and, as I mentioned, guides global activism through secular institutions. So in practice, this is meant aligning Islamic ethics with the procedural norms of international law. Indonesia's ethical pragmatism has been clearly visible during the Gaza crisis. In the late 2023, Foreign Minister Retno Marsudi addressed the 10th Emergency Special Session of the United Nations General Assembly, denouncing Israel's attack on Gaza as a crime against humanity and criticizing the paralysis of the UN Security Council after repeated vetoes by the United States that blocked ceasefire resolutions. She urged for immediate cessation of hostilities, humanitarian access for civilians, and a full UN membership for Palestine, framing this appeal in both moral and legal terms. In 2024, President Joko Widodo amplified this approach through his call on Israel to obey international Court of Justice provisional measures, ordering it to halt its military operation on Rafah. This was a case put forward by South Africa against Israel. His statement underscored Indonesia's demand that Israel respect international humanitarian law, describing compliance as a test of the world's moral conscience. In doing so, Jokowi transformed religious empathy with Palestine and Palestinians into a universalist call for legal accountability. And under our current president, Prabowo Subianto, the same ethical vocabulary has continued. Prabowo's recent participation in the 2025 Sharm el-Sheikh summit on Gaza and his offer to deploy Indonesian peacekeepers under UN command reinforces Indonesia's image as a bridging nation that is morally credible and committed to multilateral institutions. So by navigating these principles and pragmatism, Indonesia continues a foreign policy that was defined as free and active, bebas dan aktif, by Muhammad Hatta, the first vice president in 1948. It's important to emphasize here that Indonesia's moderate Islam soft power derives not from formal Islamic governance, but from its consistent embodiment of Islamic ethical spirit, moderation, justice, humanity, and commitment to a rules-based world order. As a result, Indonesia can claim to be a good global citizen, a Muslim-majority democracy that aligns moral conviction with legal processes and ethical aspirations. So in conclusion, Indonesia's engagement with Palestine reveals a dynamic relationship where Islamic ethics function as moral and rhetorical resource for pragmatic diplomacy. By grounding its stance within humanitarianism and international law, Indonesia demonstrates how religious discourse coexists with realist diplomacy to shape ethical statecraft. In the case of Gaza, Indonesia's foreign policy reflects the power of Islamic moral principles without reducing state behavior to religious doctrine. This experience offers a case of moderate Islamic value system reinforcing and justifying international humanitarian law. So borrowing from the late Azumari Azra, the role of Islam in Indonesia's foreign policy may still be described as ambiguous, but it's more and more a case of constructive ambiguity, where Islam inspires foreign policy and frames engagement with international law, with a direct positive impact on Indonesia's claim to leadership in the global south and, of course, the Muslim world. Thank you very much. I'm happy to hear your feedback and your comments to improve my presentation.
Thank you, Prof. Shahram, for your fruitful insight on Islamic political thought that are compatible with the democracy and international law. Now we open the floor to feedback that might be given from our audience. If there are any, please raise your hand and we'll provide a mic to express your thoughts. Thank you. Keep your hand raised. Sorry, yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Professor, for your interesting talks. In terms of international diplomacy, I would like to ask what is the role of technology like artificial intelligence or data science? What are the role of this technology? How can we use this technology to help us in shaping our international diplomacy about Palestine? Okay.
Role of technology.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm no expert on technology, but I hazard to guess that technology is a tool, like any other tool, that can be put to good use or bad use. And, you know, if you think about internet, when internet came on, everyone was amazed that it is connecting people. It is freeing information. It's become a source of freedom that any citizen can put their ideas forward and get ideas from others without state control. So it was a sign of freedom. But that tool is now used by people who put fake news up. And now it's become difficult to believe what you see on the internet. You have to go through fact checks to make sure what you're reading is actually true. So technology is like any other tool. It can be put to good use or bad use. You just have to be conscious of your objective and how it can be used. Thank you.
Okay. next, we have another audience here. Okay, I can see 2 hands. So the front row first, because I think he raised his hands.
Thank you, Professor. I'm going to ask you your opinion about the movement today. It's being held by the youth about boycott the product affiliate with Israel. Is that you think as ethical compass movement, or it's just movement from the youth? It's useless. What do you think?
Can you explain that movement? I haven't followed the news recently.
Boycott for the product that affiliate with Israel.
Boycott of products from
Yes.
Israel.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, I think that the boycott movement very much mirrors what was happening in relation to South Africa and South African apartheid, where South African products were boycotted and South African officials were boycotted. So I think in that sense, given that Israel is now seen by all international bodies as implementing a regime of genocide and implementing apartheid in Gaza and the West Bank, then I can only expect that the logic for boycotting Israeli products will stand.
Right, thank you. We have one more question. I think the fellow in the back has one more. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Due to the time constraints, I'm really sorry we can't have any more.
Professor,
hands,
thank you
perhaps,
for the
Okay, there's already one in the back. Very
Professor,
sorry.
thank you for the insightful report on your research. I'm very proud. As Indonesian, we stand proud, supporting our brother and sister in Palestine, from our first to our now president. But some countries in Arabic countries don't share or doesn't share this commitment. Yeah. And then they
Brother, can you stand up?
okay, yeah.
Sorry, we want to see you.
Some of our brothers countries in Arabic countries doesn't share the spirit of the spirit to freedom for Palestine. Yeah, some of them cooperate, with the genocidal countries. Yeah, and what is your opinion about that? Yeah, what is your opinion? A country distant from Palestine, Indonesia, Malaysia, support the freedom of people there.
Okay.
But some countries near the Palestine.
Got it. Okay. So, very good question. Thank you very much for asking that. A lot of, I might be jumping into hot water here. Some Arab states are more concerned about their own state interests than what's going on in Palestine. No one will admit it openly, but quietly, they just wish that the Palestinian issue went away. It's nothing but headache for them. In fact, a lot of Arab states don't like Hamas. So they are quietly happy that Hamas is being destroyed. Hamas is an extension of Muslim Brotherhood. You know, we have a scholar of Egypt here, who can tell us more about it. Egypt has been very, very uncomfortable with Hamas. So they are quietly happy that Hamas is being destroyed. But at the same time, it's something that cannot be admitted openly. So no one will actually acknowledge that, because it will put them on the wrong side of history. So I think that's primarily, so my answer is state interest and state-centric decision-making is behind that. which tells you that Islamic solidarity is taking a back step here, taking a back seat when it comes to state interests.
Thank you.
I think there
I was
a question.
informed by our
I think there was a
organization.
question from
Okay.
Professor Jamhari.
Yeah. All right.
We
To
can't
the-
skip Prof.
yes.
Jamhari.
Yeah. Yes. One more question for our rector. Yes.
No, actually, I can skip my question because already asked. Just want to ask you to compare between some Islamic states respond to what Palestinian issues. So could you give, you mentioned that Middle East, Eastern countries are more related to state interests. But how can you see Iran and other countries like Pakistan? Please, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for the question. And again, thank you very much for the invitation to be with you here, Prof. Jamhari. That is a very difficult question that you're asking me. I think state interests is key here, but different states see what is in their interest differently. So for Iran has been challenging Israel for decades from the very beginning. They see the Palestinian cause as integral to Iranian foreign policy making and objectives. So Iran, in fact, is happy to fan the fire of conflict because it feeds into the Iranian narrative of Iran standing up for Palestinians when everyone else has failed. So it feeds that narrative, so it helps Iran. Even though Iran suffers materially, economically, militarily, Iran suffers, and it's a setback for Iran. Ideologically, it serves a state, and it serves that narrative. As I mentioned, other Arab states in the region are a lot more cautious. And I have to also differentiate between policy made in capital cities and the feeling of the masses. Masses, Arab masses in the street have the solidarity and the compassion and the desire to end this disaster, the genocide in Gaza, and all of that. States have other calculations. They hear what the public is saying, but they don't want to be alienating the United States too badly. So they have to walk a delicate line in relation to the United States and where they stand. Thank you for the question.
Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause to our keynote speaker, Professor Shahram Akbarzadeh. You may return to your seat.
Thank you.
Continuing our agenda, ladies and gentlemen, we shall now enter the second plenary session, Transforming the Muslim World, Innovative Industries, Disruptive Technologies, and Sustainable Economies in Times of Crises. We have 4 world-class speakers for this session, and we are excited to listen to their discourse, each to their own respective fields. Join me with a round of applause as we welcome our invited speakers for the session. The first one, Professor Muhammad Quddus from Curtin University, Australia. We sincerely apologize for the delay. To Professor Muhammad Quadus, please come on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, please, a round of applause to our first speaker. Next, we have Fajar B. Hirawan, PhD from Universitas Islam Internasional Indonesia. Associate Professor Hamrila binti Abdul Latif from University Malaysia Sarawak. And the moderator for this session, Dr. Teguh Yudo Wicaksono from the Faculty of Economics and Business, Universitas Islam Internasional Indonesia. I will now pass the mic to you, Dr. Yudo. The time is yours.
Thank you, MC, for the introduction. Very good morning. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So, first of all, thank you for staying with us in the second day, usually when the guests are moving around, and we really appreciate that you stay with us. This is very important topic that we are going to discuss this morning. So before I let our distinguished speakers to share their insights, let me introduce myself. My name is Teguh Yudo Wicaksono. I'm the acting dean of the Faculty of Economics and Business, and very happy to moderate this session. So in our second plenary session, we are going to discuss about transforming the Muslim world, innovative industry, disruptive technologies, and sustainable economies in times of crisis. I think this is very timely topic. So before we discuss I let the speakers to share their insights, allow me to give some context to let's guide our discussions. So if you look at on, like the modern economic history, I guess all of observers, economists are virtually unanimous that countries that graduate into high income, usually countries with very strong base of industry and manufacturing sector. The reason why we need strong base of industry and manufacturing is because this sector is, the main source of innovation. This sector also is the main source of decent employment. And this is what happened actually in Indonesia during 1980s and 1990s. Now, if you look at on Muslim world, let's say OIC countries. So only 3 countries actually that on the top of manufacturing sectors: Malaysia, Indonesia, and Saudi Arabia right now. And unfortunately, we know that Indonesia is now the share of the manufacturing and industry is now in declining. So this is, I think, some key issue that we are going to discuss. And also, if we look at on the Muslim world in general, I think this is a striking fact. So, for instance, like the populations of the Muslim countries is around 2 billion, which is around 25% of the global population. But the share of our economy actually is very small, only 6 to 7%. So there is a huge gap between the populations and our contributions to the global economy. Now, part of the reasons, I guess, many of these countries face like structural problems, And one of the issue is these countries lack of, or we do not much innovate in our economy. Our products are not that complex. And this is, I think, relevant to what we are going to discuss today. So for instance, like, this is also interesting statistics. We see that Muslim countries face huge gap in knowledge productions. So for instance, like the OIC countries produce only 2.4% of global research. So the big chunk of the research is actually conducted by the rest of the countries. So I think this is our homework, and we are very glad to have actually 4 distinguished speakers. But at the moment, we have 3. Professor Zulfikar will join with us. But I will start our discussions first with Professor Hamrila Abdul Latif. So Professor Hamrila is academics, author, trainers, and industry, very extensive experience, not only in academics, but also in real world. And she is also very active, publishing in more than 200 works in academic journals, supervise many students, and she is also teaching at University Malaysia Sarawak. So without further ado, please, Professor Hamrila, time is yours. Please give her a big round of applause.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Apa khabar? Okay, thank you very much for having me. Okay, today I want to bring everyone to think about something more general, but it is about our generation tomorrow. Okay, so we know that we are now going to different phase. We are in the era of transformation. We are not going back as what Prof. Farish yesterday talking about. We did enjoy the good names, the good reputation of Muslim scholars society in the 7th century, but we are not going back there. So what we have to shape for the generations in the future is something really related to technology, to the innovation, and also their own capacity within themselves. So this is the questions that we have to ask ourselves in terms of what contribution that we could make despite of, being professional at our work. Okay, next, thank you. Okay, so you know that we want to understand the situation, the adaptive capacities of individuals, organizations, and the community itself supposed to be underneath that, going to uphold everything. So whether we like it or not, the disruptive technologies is keep on moving, keep on going. We couldn't say that we master it, but it's going to change all the time. We know we can be left behind. So all of us, whether we want to admit it or not, we are all learners, right? We couldn't say we master everything because it's going to change maybe tomorrow. It's going to change so soon. And there's a lot of things that we don't know. Keep changing with the clock ticking, all right? So understanding on this, what is very important when we want to relate with Muslim societies, we want to see all these changes align with the iman, the faith that we have. It's supposed to be aligned. And then the second one is, we know that the purpose of our living is amal. Okay, so we should understand that whatever we're doing, following the innovations and the technologies, it's supposed to be supporting what we want to do as our amal. And in order for us to be able to do this, we have to be able to adapt. That is adaptability that really makes some meaning to what we are doing. It not depends on the individuals. It's how we become adaptive with the situation, with the circumstances that might be a bit challenging to us. All right, next. So the question is, we witness everything. World is changing faster. We have all this AI, automation, cloud computing, deep learning, everything. And sometimes we could say that we are so busy focusing on our work, we couldn't follow all these changes. But the question is how this Muslim world, especially for our next generation, we prepare for this. So I would say it is like an honor for me to be here. I'm representing the women population. Thank you. And if in Malaysia, we always have kind of a very clear allocation saying the representation of women in everything, it's supposed to be 40%. So they can support the busy man in the family, in the organization. So Malaysia is still working hard to make things happen. I don't know in Indonesia, but in order for us to choose or to select the right candidates, the women candidates, to help us, to support us, we have to know also what is the purpose that we are going, what is the direction with all these changes, what we want actually. So we know that some of the work with my discussion with Prof. Eka Sri Mulyani yesterday, we acknowledge that there are things that women good at, okay? Maybe in terms of shaping the generation themselves, because we come with emotion, very hard, we have a very good attachment with our young kids, right? So how actually this can help? So the transformation, it can be very superficial without these emotional elements. So this is where this 40% shouldn't be left behind whenever you are trying to reach the direction. Okay, next. So in order for us to understand about the transformation, we know that transforming the Muslim world is not that easy, right? So the word multidisciplinary, it can be very general. It can be, I would say, abstract. And we can say that we must do some multidisciplinary, we must try to make things like more integrated. But how do we do that? Especially in the perspective of the working class like us, okay? I'm representing those who are not at the leader position, okay? Do you know that how many % of leaders in all organization? Okay, if in the study, normally, because we are teaching Faculty of Economics and Business, normally we have all on ratio. Among all the selection of good brains, good talent pool, not all of them definitely couldn't have all become the leader. So normally only 10%. So if 150 people in one organization, only 15 that we need to shape them through the ladder to be the good leader, right? But what happened to the rest? Can there be multidisciplinary too? How can we expect something that can help them in line with this transformation? So we are now, the sharings today, it is not for those who are going to be the leader. We are trying to help those, the 135 people, not the 15 people. Because I think most of the research, we only so much focus on those who are very much into leadership. But the non-leader section or segments, it is like being ignored or neglected. But we keep on saying that we need to be multidisciplinary. So allow me to share a little bit and for us to understand more on how to be multidisciplinary. Ask ourselves, do our work, do the work that we do is actually related to many things, or it is so much in depth? So if it is so much in depth, it is not that supporting the multidisciplinary elements that we want to try to reach, okay? The second one is multi-purpose. Multi-purpose means whatever we do, it is, if you are the academician, maybe if it is a book or it is a write-up, it is a journal article, it is not only purely on the specific things that you think you want to be expert on. It's supposed to try to understand a little bit the marginal needs or things that we can reach that helps and giving multi-benefits to others. That can help us to transform better rather than we work in isolation just for one specific purpose and it is just on one, maybe one single advantage that we can reach, okay? And the last one, which is, I think, very hard for academician, the normal academician, especially when we were junior and younger, when we want to have networking. Networking in the political science, maybe networking, people refer it in the developing country, people normally say cable. But what is, if you know, what is the difference between cable and network? Cable, it is sometimes can be associated to something negative, right? People are using, you know, the back door, or this is cable, people say. But network, what is network? Is it only just meeting people, a lot of people in one event and then say, hi, bye, I'm from Unimas, I'm from Indonesia. Then people just forget it straight away after that. But what we want to highlight to our new generation, especially the Muslim one, they have to work together with others, meaning not only on the fixed team, fixed department, but ability to make it variety and different industry. That is the challenge. Let's say, like for the young lecturer, the younger lecturer, young academics, if we know that the KPIs, maybe as for now, it is just for books, the journals, what else? The proceeding, conference, all that. But how about, do you think that the industry looking forward to read the journals, articles that we wrote, do you think that they are on top of the management of the organization, corporate conglomerates, maybe they wanted to find all these researchers to give some grants, funding, right? But on top of that, for the other people, what do they actually expect? What do they actually need from us? Is it just, you know, the collaboration is just on the money oriented or money purpose? I hate that when people, the industry people, maybe have kind of perception saying whenever we go to them and then knock their door and then they said, yeah, they are coming to ask us the money. So we don't want that, especially for Muslim scholar, for Muslim society, the younger generation. We try to make things more positive by having collaborative team. We should start to be open up. We should start to be more open doors with people. Ask ourselves what we can do with that. Okay, next. All right. So the advantage of being multidisciplinary is, you know, without saying, it can be very much in real time, in real life, it is more beyond superficial. Okay, if you could see even the learning pyramid, the capability is not only by lecture or reading, and nowadays people start to have audio visual, like from the YouTube podcast or whatsoever. But how about us? Like, are we really involved with the discussion in the conglomerate discussion? No, because we are not part of them. We're not even being part of the project that we do. So on top of that, practice doing, we talk about the media, the journalists outside there. They are reporting something that is sometimes more advanced than us. So what is this actually? Are we going to be left behind? So in the practice doing, and also the discussion itself, it's actually giving us kinesthetic learning to ourselves. We couldn't stop learning. We have to really do all this multidisciplinary to transform our Muslim society for the better future. And of course, in order for us to be professionally adaptable, we couldn't just simply read books and write. We're supposed to be part of them and work together to make sure we are just being with them in the real life. Okay, next. All right, so this is just a sharing. Maybe this is part of the case study. If you could see me on the slide, it looks a little bit slightly different because of the makeup sometimes. When you're working on TV, that is the things that I don't like sometimes. My experience is on academic, being the academia. We do writing, journals writing. We do the admin posts like head of department or deputy dean, all that. We learn a lot from that administrative post. We teach, and from the teaching itself, make it more interesting. Like me, how do I know that I already teach about 21 different subjects? It's because we want to make it diverse. We want to make it not only one single subject over the years. So it will make us more variety and multi-perspective that we have. And on top of that, I really feel like I'm challenged to do something on media, because when we are on the lecture room, nobody are going to contest us. Our students normally, it's because of the power distance maybe, they are not really allowed to question us much. But we are not going to bluff people. It's going to be a higher responsibility and more challenging when you know that you are going to be on TV and talking about the budget. It is, people are going, if you're saying something wrong, you are going to kill yourself, right? Okay, so this is part of something that I think all of you, especially the young one, if you are not doing into leadership, go for something multidisciplinary with multiple benefits that can increase visibility, not only for your superior to see your contribution, it is also for the benefits, the amal that we give, all the eyes that witness us, maybe our write-up on newspaper, our comments, the fruitful comments on media. It is actually part of, inshallah, the amal for us. So I think it is more disciplinary in nature. Next. Hopefully I can make it very quick. Next, please. All right, so the recommendation as the university, I think we have to prepare, we should provide some infrastructure or access, especially to allow collaborative ecosystem for the younger ones and the students, not to only focus on what they are currently doing, but also to make it You know, if you are experienced, you have a lot of, let's say, connections with others. Not only you, it's actually you are giving path to others. Then it becomes the multiplication effects that we give to our people and our society, inshallah. All right, next. I hope this is the last one. Okay, so this is just the adaptive capability and capacity. It is definitely within, not within yourself. It is within the society with multidisciplinary approach, versatile in terms of the purpose. The benefit itself, it is diverse, and also it is not only in silo. We are not working in silo. We are working with broad networking. We can bring everyone together. Next. I'm actually so amazed with the sharings that we have since yesterday. Definitely, we understand that all this, if we ask ourselves, if we really do, it is not only for the ladder of leadership. It is not only for our self-esteem and satisfaction. It is actually aligned with Islamic values and ethics. The more, you know why, the things that I really want to highlight here is about the tazkiyah an-nafs, which is the self-purification, where the more diverse people that you meet, the more multidisciplinary that you go, the more humble you're going to be. Because you know that you are nobody. Because sometimes being expert in our own thing, our own expertise, it makes us forget that we are still lacking with a lot of things. So it is part of something that we should do to make us more humble, working towards the directions. Okay, maybe the last, the last one, sorry. All right, so this is the wrap up. I remember yesterday we start with the Quran recital, very much in sync with our conference. So I think when we talk about multidisciplinary, it is something that we can reflect from the Surah Al-Ma'idah, that saying cooperate in righteousness and piety, do not cooperate in sin and aggression, and fear Allah. Indeed, Allah is severe in penalty. That's mean if you work alone, you are not being cooperated to something much better for our future transformation. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum.
Thank you. Thank you for very insightful sharing, Prof. Hamrila. I'm really sorry to interrupt your talk. The committee winged me to end the session because Pak Menteri is coming. So again, let me summarize quickly message from Prof. Hamrila. Essentially, in this life-changing world, it's not enough to have a single approach. We should have like multi approaches, disciplinary, multi-purpose, multi-benefits, and multi-access networking. I think it's also coming from your experience. You have extensive, not only academics, but also practitioners. Such a rarity, I think, among academics. Thank you, Prof. Hamrila. So let's continue our discussions with our second speaker, Dr. Fajar Hirawan. He is our own lecturer at the Faculty of Economics and Business. Dr. Fajar Hirawan used to work as a senior researcher at the Center for Strategic and International Studies, and also he is expert in international trade, published various works in agricultural development, trade, and regional cooperation. He earned his PhD in economics from the University of Sydney. Without much further ado, floor is yours, Pak Fajar.
Thank you, Dr. Yudo, for your kind introductions. So how many minutes do you have? 15 minutes? Yeah, around that. Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Pak Rektor, Prof. Jamhari, and all Vice Rectors, Professor Shafiq, members of the AICIS organizing committees, Pak Ses and Prof. Amsal, and all the committees, the deans of the faculties, all the faculty members and staff, all the participants of AICIS Plus 2025, distinguished speakers, and guests, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning. So today, it's an honor for me to represent UIII, and then thank you for having me and for the opportunity to share my thoughts on the industrialization and innovations. So here I would like to reflect a broader questions: how can Muslim economies convert their capital strength into innovation, productivity, and shared prosperity? So next, as a background, next please. Yeah, as the background, well, I can say that when we are talking about the productivity structures of the OIC or the D8 economies, so we often hear that the narrative that Muslim economy have a strong fundamentals. Do you agree with this, everybody? Yeah, well, I think this is true because I think you can see from the productivity potential index there that we are rich in the physical capital, we are rich in the natural resources, demographic scales, and also, we are also having a very good in the context of the demographic scale. Yet, this hasn't not fully translated into what's so-called as a long-run productivity. So based on this 2025 productivity potential index released by the World Government Summit in collaboration with PwC, you can see that several OIC economies such as Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE, Kuwait, Bahrain, and Turkey perform well in terms of the capital inputs, but still lack in innovations, capability, and also the human capital quality, especially in the context of also the institutional effectiveness. So the challenge is not about the absence of resources. So the challenge is how well we convert those resources into high-value productivity. So this is exactly what distinguishes frontier economies or developed economies. So they don't rely on what's so-called as the asset accumulation, but the innovation system is already there, and they continuously upgrade their firms, technologies, and also skills. Next, please. So in the context of, innovations, I would like to share a current global innovation index 2025. And as you can see that the top 10, we cannot find any single OIC economies as a top 10 most innovative countries in the world. But we are still, ranked at the top 50. So we have UAE there, Malaysia, Turkey, and Saudi Arabia, and also Qatar. Even Indonesia not among the top 50. So this is the, the challenge for us, especially as scholars or as researchers, of the Muslim world economies. So we have to focus on the aspect that we are still experiencing the issues there. So we are still underperform in the context of the human capital and research, so knowledge and technology outputs, infrastructures, and also the institutional strain. So I think AICIS Plus 2025 hopefully could support this, aspects. So hopefully in the future, our ranking could be even better than Global Innovation Index in 2025. Next, please. So I think we are still, I remember a couple months or a couple weeks ago that, Philip Agion, so excuse me if I couldn't pronounce it correctly, Pak Stéphane Lacroix. So I'm afraid that, this is like a France economist, so I'm afraid that I pronounce it wrong. So excuse my pronunciation. So perhaps, the Muslim world, in this case, is now at a turning point. If we continue to rely on the capital accumulation, we risk what Thomas Piketty warned in his book titled Capital in the 21st Century, that the returns to capital grow faster than returns to labor, and it could widen what's so-called as the inequality. And on the other hand, Philip Agion, Antonin, and Bernal in 2021 remind us in his book, The Power of Creative Distractions, that innovation without institutional readiness can also produce exclusion. So these both extreme risks, capital without innovation leads to inequality, and the innovation without institution leads to instability. Next, please. So, next, yeah. So now I would like to, share several points as the, findings. How is the Muslim world performance currently in the context of the GVC and also in the context of the innovation? So when we look at the current industrial structure, so we see that there is a natural complementarity within the Muslim world. So some OIC economies, such as Saudi Arabia, Indonesia, Morocco, and Egypt, I can say that specialize in the upstream, industries. Meanwhile, Malaysia, Turkey, Pakistan, and Bangladesh specialize in upstream industries. Oh, sorry, in downstream, manufacturing industries. So in principle, this could form what's called as an internal intra-OIC value chain. So allowing more value to be retained across the Muslim world. However, in practice, unfortunately, most of these linkages point outward, not inward. So primarily goes to China, to the EU, and to the United States. So this ecosystem exists, but the connectivity, I can say that is still external rather than the internal. Next, please. We also see from this trade data, so this is a study that I conducted with my student, Saviola Junejo, our current PhD student, shows that Indonesia's vegetable-based products, particularly palm oil, gain a market share within the OIC markets, even during the pandemic period. So these findings demonstrates that when competitiveness aligns with the demand, so the region is capable of forming a strong internal linkages. So this is the things that, we have to, we need to support, and we have to strengthen this kind of what's called as the connectivity among the Muslim world. Next, please. However, without the innovation capability, trade openness can actually increase the unemployment. So as shown in the D8 regression result from research by one of my students as well, Olga Ulima in 2022, who examined the relationship between the trade openness and unemployment in the OIC countries. So this is the things that we have to, focus on. So the issue is not whether we open or close the markets. So the real question is, can we move up to the value chain fast enough before the competition displaces our labor base? So I think this is very important, and I think, again, I just want to remind all of us that this kind of activity, events, like conferences, sharing a knowledge among the Muslim scholars and all the, scholars that have an interest to focus on the Muslim world, I think we have to strengthen in the future. Next, please. So, as the way forward, I can say that if the Muslim world want to move from the capital dependence to the productivity leadership, so I suggest there should supposed to be three strategic shifts. Number one, from the capital accumulation to the innovation capability. So in this case, that we assume that the technology adoptions, R&D collaboration, the digital infrastructures, and the firm upgrading matter more than the physical expansion alone. Number two, from commodity export to the value chain integration. So we know that internal OIC linkages allow more value to be created and retained domestically. And number three, from growth quantity to growth quality. So growth must be both faster and fairer. So nowadays, we are always say that, we have to achieve a certain level of the economic growth. We know that our current government want to achieve what's called as the 8% economic growth. I don't know, I want to ask Dr. Yudo whether we can achieve the 8% or not. But again, we are not talking about the faster growth, but we have to focus on the fairer growth. The growth have to be fair. We have to focus on the quality, not the quantity of the economic growth. And then here, like Professor Shahra mentions in the keynote address before, I think we are talking about the maslahah, right? We're talking about the justice or adil, or we are talking about amanah or trustworthiness. So this is the things that we have to make it as a safeguard for our economy. So the growth later on doesn't concentrate to among only small asset holders, but benefit the wider society. So Islamic economic doesn't only finance a development, it guides the distribution of its benefit. And we hope that this Islamic economics could become a policy compass, like Professor Shahram also mentioned during the keynote speech in this morning. Next, please. So this is the last slide. I hope that I, quite quick, so we could have more discussion. Yeah, Prof. So as the, for my last slide, I can say that the journey ahead for the Muslim world is not only about building more industries. So we are talking about how to build an economic model which capital, technology, and justice reinforce one another. So if we can combine this innovation with values and productivity, with the inclusion, so the Muslim world will not only merely participate in the global economy, we will shape it, not only participate in the global economy. So, so it's like a politician, it is. So anyway, so from faith to factory is not a slogan, actually, based on my title before. So it is a roadmap, in my opinion. So a roadmap from potential to transformations and from resources to prosperity. So inshallah, this roadmap will be realized optimally, moving from faith to factory and from factory to victory for all society, as Islam is rahmatan lil alamin. Thank you for your kind attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Dr. Fajar. You are not politicians, actually. The audience agrees on you, on your points, so thank you. I noted some points that Dr. Fajar mentions, and very interesting data that he showed that, Muslim countries are rich in physical and natural capital, but when it comes to human capital, we see that no Muslim countries listed on the top 10 list, yeah. So I think it's very, that's big homework, and because Pak Fajar talked about innovation, and of course innovation is coming from human, from skills, from talents. And Pak Fajar mentions also productivity, a paper by Agion and Howitt. They were awarded Nobel Prize in Economics a few weeks ago, so the theme is very timely that we discuss about the innovations. Again, thank you, Pak Fajar, for sharing the insights. The next speaker, let me introduce our Professor Mohamed Quadus. He is a professor at the School of Management and Marketing at Curtin University, Perth, Australia. And he has published very productive scholar. He has published over 300 scholarly works in journals, conferences, and book chapters. And he also served as Deputy Dean and Dean of Research in between 2009 and 2011. And he is also director of Curtin Graduate School of Business 2013 and 2014. And he is also doing some consultancy work with World Bank and also other international organizations. So Professor Quadus, really, really happy to have you here, and please, time is yours.
Okay. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. And good morning to all of you. When I was invited to give a talk in this conference, my immediate reaction was on what topic. Our first speaker talked about being multidisciplinary. I'm really one of them. I've been trained as an engineer. My background is mechanical engineering. Then I did my PhD in management and really became a management scientist. So this is what I do, although my talk will cut across some terms from economics and so on, but I'm not an economist at all. So I'm really a management scientist, a modeler, business modeling, and that's what my primary expertise is. And one of the sub-themes that you have is sustainable economy in times of crisis. So that's the topic that fits quite well with my area of research. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you what's the connection between crisis management, which I call being resilient, and becoming sustainable for for a long time. So I'll start with some basic idea about sustainability, then moving on to resilience, and try to show you how these two are related. It's good to see some other slides with numbers and so on, so mine will be very similar. But it's not really on any Islamic country. For the data, I had to select OECD countries, but they have all the data that I'm going to present here. So just quickly touching on sustainability, I think we know all the definition. The first one is the capacity to meet the needs of present without compromising the future generations and so on. That's the standard definition. And it's about being long-term viable and making sure that whatever we do now, we have to use resources, but that doesn't really deplete the need for future generation. Okay, next one. So I'll quickly run over various levels of sustainability that I have found in my research. It could be individual. You can be really very ethical in whatever you do and become sustainable. Don't waste your food. Don't waste things like that. Consume which are sustainable and so on. It could be at team level, could be at organizational level. A company, an organization, they deal sustainable and they develop all kinds of modeling. And one of the areas is ethical governance, sustainable supply chain, and I've done a lot of work in that area. And also could be at national level. So my talk today would be really at national level, and becoming sustainable at national level is really dealing with all those SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals that UN bodies they have. The next one. Now, in terms of resilience, the definition is very simple. It really came from a different field, natural science. So what it means, the ability of a system to absorb changes. So we have a shock, sudden shock. So what sort of resources you have to absorb that shock, then stand up again and do the things even better, okay? So a better definition would be the resilience is the ability of a system, could be individual, could be community, to anticipate. You have to know that something is coming, and that's exactly why we failed, dealing with COVID, then absorb the changes and really recover quite strongly from the changes. And resilience itself is really multidisciplinary in nature. And like sustainability, there are different levels of resilience. You can be yourself resilient, so you call it individual resiliency, team level, again, organizational, different organizations, they want to become resilient, and primarily in different functional areas like finance, like human resource, and also in supply chain resilience. And I have done some work on that, on supply chain resilience. And at the national level, which is really talking about the economy, a country's ability to absorb shock and then recover from downturns and so on. Again, the classical example is COVID-19. You probably have seen the problem that we had in Australia, the queuing up and fighting for things like toilet paper. So what really happened? The whole supply chain of toilet paper really went down. So people were really fighting for that one. So my talk will be the connection between becoming economic resilience and sustainability, the next one. So what I'm going to do now is give you some idea about how we can measure different aspects of economic resilience. I've collected some literature, a recent one. There is something called ERI, Economic Resilience Index, which is Asian Development Bank kind of report. And that is developed based on some sort of proprietary research, and that is not available publicly. You have to pay money to go to Sigma Explorer and so on. The other one is Hafele et al. They're researchers from German. They developed a 6-component economic resilience index. Now this is good because this is readily available and it's free. So you can go to that website that I have given in my PowerPoint slide, and I'm happy to distribute. Anybody wants to have it, you can just take it. So in that particular ERI, Economic Resilience Index, they talk about 6 dimensions, which I call 6 components of that. And you can see they all make sense. Like you have to be economic independent. So you got to have good energy independence and good export market diversity and so on. The second one, education and skills. Your workers, workforce, they need to be highly educated and highly skillful. Financial resilience, corporate finance, public finance, and so on. Number 4 is governance, okay? The government effectiveness, the trust in government, and so on. Number 5 is production capacity, employment, what sort of product you produce, ICT capacity, and really becoming innovative. And the last one is social progress and cohesion, making something good for the society, and we have some measures for that one. Next. So this is simply sample data from OECD on those 6 components of resilience. And you can see that they vary. Like in the Netherlands, you can see in terms of economic independence, quite low, but it is quite high in other aspects, okay? And ERI that you can see on the right-hand side, that's simply the average of these 6 components. Next. Next. Now, along with that, in terms of measuring sustainability, I found 3 dominant ways that you can measure sustainability. One is Human Development Index. So that's a UN kind of index. So it deals with sustainability issues, health, education, gross income per person. And I've seen a lot of people, they use HDI as a measure for sustainability. The second one I found is Inclusive Wealth Index, IWI. It's a composite of 4 items, 4 components, like resources, which could be natural or produced. You produce your own resource, human aspect, and also health aspect. The last one, which is being used quite intensively, is Sustainable Development Goal Index, SDG. We all know about that. The big book by Sachs and his colleagues. Every year they publish books and they kind of track the SDG goals and the index for different countries. So all 3 of them have done analysis using all 3. So what I've shown here is some number from some OECD countries. Again, you can see that it varies quite widely. For example, Netherlands, again, low on SDG index, but very high on human development. Also very high in inclusive wealth. And we have Sweden, okay, very high on SDG index, very high on human development, but not so high on inclusive wealth. So they vary quite widely. Next one. So I tried to develop some relationship between ERI and different measures of sustainability. And as you can see that they vary so widely, okay, that you really cannot use traditional modeling that a lot of people they use. You have to go really beyond that, and they are really highly nonlinear. Then again, I see a lot of paper, they deal with linear modeling and all kinds of things. But what I'm trying to see here, trying to convince you that it's not really linear at all. So you have to go beyond the traditional modeling and see what you can do, how you can model this relationship. Next. So I'm just introducing a new concept. It's not a new concept, but for many of you, could be new. It's called Fuzzy Set Qualitative Comparative Analysis, in short, FSQCA. It's the only slide I have, but to give a good full lecture on FSQCA, it will take at least half a day. So I'm trying to explain everything in one slide. It's based on set theory. So as the diagram shows, we have 2 sets, set Y, that could be your goal, your dependent variable, and set X, which is your component of resilience and so on. And they intersect. So that X dot Y is the intersection of those 2 sets. So what happens, we want to see what percent of that intersect is out of the big set X, and we call that consistency. We require that to be quite high, normally more than 0.75, and also what percent of that intersect is out of Y, that big diagram. And that needs to be more than 0.5, and we call that coverage. Okay, next slide. Next. So in terms of using FSQCA and analyzing the relation between economic resilience and sustainability, I have used Hafele's model, that's 6 components resilience model: education, economic independence, education skill, financial resilience, governance, production capacity, and social progress. I use SDG index as my measure of sustainability, and use the software of FSQCA. The hot link is there, it's free. You can download it and really play around with that. And there are a lot of papers on that one. The most useful one is by Papas and Woodside. So I followed that, and there are different versions of that one. Next. So what it does, it gives you a configurations. Sometimes we call it recipe. So how do you combine different components to achieve your goal in an optimal way? So the formal definition is a configuration is a combination of conditions together that will lead to your outcome. And in this case, the outcome is SDG index, okay? So I've done some analysis using SDG index. I've come up with 4 different combinations. This is what I call pathways. Your pathways to development, your pathways to go and achieve that sustainability. You can see the first one talks about becoming economic independence, education skill, and maintaining governance at the same time. That will give you a high consistency and high coverage. The least you can do that I highlighted is economic independence and governance. Not forgetting other components, but if a country doesn't have much social progress or much education still, it's saying that you can still combine economic independence and governance, and you can still maintain your sustainability goals. Now, one thing you see here, that governance is common in all of them. I've done similar analysis using SDI index as my measure of sustainability. Same thing, education skill and governance came out to be top. For an inclusive world, economic independence and governance came out to be top. So one lesson that we learn here, that no matter what you do, if you don't have good governance, okay, and the full definition is there in even different papers, then no combination, nothing really works. So we need to maintain good governance and so on. In terms of what you can do about it, depending on your strength, different countries can combine different components and really select a pathway for optimal growth and becoming more sustainable. And there are also problems. The main problems is data limitations. The reason that I had to select OECD, well, I could find all the real data for OECD. I couldn't find any data for ASEAN or OIC and so on. There are some bits and pieces here, not the full set of data. Finally, I'll conclude by saying that resilience and sustainability are journeys. It's not really end. You have to keep on doing it every year, like the SDG index is done by Jeffrey Sachs and his colleagues every year. Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Quadus, for interesting sharing. 2 new words that I think are also very important that Professor Quadus bring into our discussion. First, about the sustainability and also resilience. And these 2 actually are very close to home, and given the sustainability issues and also the climate change, I think this is very important. And also, Professor Quadus mentioned about the economic independence. I think it's a really interesting concept, and perhaps we can dig deeper about the concept about this later. And we are now moving to the next speaker. Welcome, Professor Zulfikar. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much.
So before I let you to share your insight, please allow me to briefly read his bio. Professor Zulfikar Amir is Associate Professor of Science, Technology and Society, faculty member in the Sociology program at the School of Social Sciences, Nanyang Technological University, Singapore. His research is very extensive, interesting, touching technology, but also the dynamic of the social as well. He introduced the social technical resilience. Again, we discuss resiliency, the concept of resiliency, and he publishes many works in journals and scholarly articles, books, very productive. So without much further ado, Professor Sulfikar, please, time is yours.
Okay, good morning everyone. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you so much for Mr. Moderator for a nice introduction. First of all, I would like to apologize for coming very late. I got stranded, on the way from my hotel to here. I don't know why the organizer put me very far from here. Okay, socio-technical resilience is a concept that I've been developing for the past maybe 7 years now. But I'm not going to talk about resilience. I'm going to talk about my ongoing project on digital technology and artificial intelligence. I think I already said my slides. Can
Organizer,
the operator
please help us to show Professor Sulfikar.
pull out my slides? Okay, while we're waiting, it is very honor for me to come here, and I'm very thankful for the organizing committee to invite me. This is actually my first time coming to this beautiful, majestic campus of UEE. It's such a great university. I know some of my friends are faculty members here, so I'm quite familiar with the university and the programs. They have a fantastic research project, and I'm looking forward to having collaboration with some of the faculty here. So digitalization is something that is now spreading across the world. It is something that is inescapable, and everyone is now undergoing through this process of transformation. How many of you, by the way, do not have a cell phone here? No one, right? Yeah. How many of you have a Gojek account? Everyone. That's right. How many of you have a Twitter account or X account? Many of you? Okay. I'm sure some of the younger audience will raise their hands. How many of you have TikTok account? No? Okay. Yeah. So these are digital platforms that is now increasingly popular among Indonesian population, especially the youth. And it is part of the digital transformation that Indonesia is now going through. I'm still waiting for the slides. Oh, there's a very ironic. We have a digital problem here. That is true. That is so funny. Yeah. Talking about digital resilience, right? We're not so resilient in using digital technologies. Oh, is it showing up? Oh, but it's not here. Maybe I should just go to the. Oh, okay, thank you. Where is my slide? Oh, what's going on? It's cut in half. Digitalization. Okay. I hope you have a good operator to handle the glitch. So yeah, digitalization is ongoing transformation, and Indonesia is a country that seeks to develop its economy, its society, also embrace digitalization. It's happening everywhere in the United States, in Japan, in Europe, in Australia, and of course in Southeast Asia, in Singapore, where I am now a teaching member, faculty, and of course Indonesia now. Very good. Wow, we have a good operator. Keep going, keep going. Keep going. A bit more, a bit more. More, okay. So at least there are 4 benefits of digitalization that we are now doing. The first one is that definitely it intensifies, communication. Second is that it improves information transparency. This is a very important aspect of digitalization because Indonesia, as a developing country, needs to enhance transparency as part of the democratic system. Maybe I will just wait until everyone settles. Okay, no. Go back. Go back to the slides before. What's the operator's name? Can you go back to the slide before? Yeah, okay, great. And of course, a more important impact of digitalization is that it enhances institutional efficiency. And basically, this is what Indonesian government is doing from central government all the way to the local government. They use digital technology in order to make their bureaucracy more efficient. And at the end of the day, it's all about the economy. So digitalization is considered to be an effective tool for boosting economic growth. And so far, of course, at least for the past maybe 7, 8 years, we have seen an increasing impact of digitalization on Indonesian economy. Okay, next. The rise of Industry 4.0. So it's all started with this person, Professor Klaus Schwab. He's originally German, but then moved to Switzerland. And he published this book called The Fourth Industrial Revolution. And he coined the term Industry 4.0 as a new era for global economy to develop. And he's the founder of World Economic Forum. So the concept of Industry 4.0 was launched about 15 years ago. It became so much a buzzword around the world, especially in Asia. And Indonesia, of course, next slide, of course, also embracing this 4.0. I still remember Pak Jokowi, then our president, launched this Making Indonesia 4.0, which is actually a very good program that seeks to adopt digital technology for boosting Indonesian economy. And to some extent, it has a positive impact on our economy. Next slide. Now the thing is, digital transformation is not only about technology, and I'm a sociologist, and I studied technology from a sociological point of view, and I can tell you a lot about how technology depends so much on society. So technology does not only contain the technical things, but also, and very importantly, depends on the institutions, depends on the people, depends on the culture. So we're talking about a whole package of transformation that involve not only your gadgets, your cell phones, your computers, but also the people who run the whole system, the mentality, the norms and values, the disciplines. All of things are part of these digital transformations. Now, unfortunately, if you look at what happened with digital transformations, some of the programs emphasize more on the technology rather than the institution, and that caused some unexpected and unwanted outcome. Next slide. Yeah, so talking about digital transformation, we can start from the fact that Indonesia is the largest digital economy in Southeast Asia. It has, by 2025, the market is 130 billion US dollar. How much in rupiah? 80 trillion. Wow, that's a lot. Wow. And this is boosted by the fact that internet penetration in Indonesia is quite extensive. 79.9% of the Indonesian population have access to the internet. So basically, Indonesia is quite advanced in terms of internet access. Although maybe we have some complaints about the internet speed, right? But so far, almost 80% of the population have access to the internet. So from Jakarta all the way to Kudus, to Magelang, to Ambon, to Kalimantan, Balikpapan, etc. It is not really difficult to get access to the internet. And 60% of Indonesian population are those who are in the young age, who are in the age productive, group. So this is a very, very big potential for Indonesia to grow its digital economy, and in order to speed up economic prosperity and the betterment of society. Next. Now the thing is, and this is the bad news about the digital economy in Indonesia. Well, we have so much potential, but unfortunately, Indonesia's digital economy is very much rooted in low value economy. By low value, it means that the majority of economic activities in the digital platforms are those that offer cheap labor and consumptions of imported products. So it doesn't really create new markets for Indonesian locally made products, but mostly on cheap labors and import consumption. And the fact that the young population who join the digital economy, they are actually not included in the formal economy, but rather in informal economy. We know that there's about 30 million online drivers in Indonesia, and they are informal workers. What does it mean? It means that they make a very small amount of money, right, which doesn't really enough for themselves and for their family. There's no benefit. So we see basically low value digital economy, which is not really doing good for Indonesian economy, for long term. Next. And this is a fact that actually comes from a reality that Indonesia is now undergoing what some economists call as early de-industrializations. We don't have, big industrial sectors that contribute to our economy. We just rely on digital economy that only produce small amount of value for those who are part of this economy. And the fact is that digitalization, if you look at very carefully, only leads to growing inequality. When I said that the potential of digital economy in Indonesia is $130 billion US, most of the money, most of this profit goes to the upper class, goes to big corporations. And the low middle class people only receive maybe less than 20%. So this is a reality of digitalization. And of course, it's not happening in Indonesia only. It's happening in other places, in the United States, in Europe, right, in UK. So there's a potential for growing inequality that caused by digitalization. And digitalization also increased informalization of employment. That means a lot of employment that is provided by digital economy is actually in the form of informal jobs, like what I mentioned about the online drivers. So this is something that should be addressed if we want our digital economy to be more competitive and more beneficial for the people. Next. Now, I still remember 10 years ago, Indonesia was so happy and celebrated the rise of these unicorn companies. It indicates the success of digital economy in Indonesia. So we got, for example, of course, Gojek, Grab. No, Grab is based in Malaysia and now in Singapore. Goto, Tokopedia, Tanihub, EFC. So we got a bunch of startup companies that seem to be a new engine of growth that makes the government very optimistic that Indonesia among the golden generations is coming, right? Now the fact is that for the past 2 years, we see how these unicorn companies were falling. Yeah, Bukalapak is no longer there. I think what's Bukalapak doing now? I don't remember. Still there. It's no longer a marketplace, right? Yeah. And Tanihub, we know the scandal, right? Goto, it's collapsing in terms of their share values. Ruang Guru is also growing small. And of course, e-fishery, the latest one, which is a scandal that there is a big shame for Indonesian economy. Because of e-fishery, a lot of venture companies in Singapore doesn't want to invest in Indonesia because of what happened with e-fishery. So this is another side, another dark side of digital economy, because we have the technology, but the mentality, the discipline, the values of those actors who are part of digital economy doesn't confirm the presence of a strong and responsible actors of the digital economy. It's unlike in other countries where they have these digital startups that remains strong and keep growing and growing. In Indonesia, the unicorn companies are now falling, and we don't really see anything that will affect the economy in the near future. Next.
I'm sorry, Prof. Sulfikar, you have 2-3 minutes to wrap up.
Okay, let me just wrap it up. But of course, digitalization also produced some problems. Cybercrime, for example, data theft, which is quite common in Indonesia, right? Cyber terrorism, and of course, online gambling addiction is a big problem now in Indonesia due to this digitalization, online bullying, and social polarization. Next. And of course, the government also responsible for the lack of incompetence in handling digital infrastructures and digital regulations. What happened with PDN like a year ago is an indication of how the government, Indonesian government, is lacking this capability in regulating the digital infrastructures. Next. And of course now we are seeing the rise of artificial intelligence, but something that I would like to mention here is that the adoption of AI is socially conditioned, and the way and the motivation to use is very, very social. Next. There's a number of scholars who have studied the social, cultural, and political impact of artificial intelligence. The question that we should ask, can we trust AI? Right? That's a big problem. And this is a question that needs to be addressed by the government who regulates the use of artificial intelligence, but also by the people, by the Indonesian people, how they should proceed with the utilization of AI. Next. And the fact is that the AI is actually a mirror of our society. Our biases are inherently embedded in AI algorithms, and AI, like us, always make mistakes. So we need to be aware of that. That AI is not like a perfect technology that will give you, always correct answer. Okay, AI, is subject to mistakes and malfunction. Next. And so at least there are 3 challenges of AI in Indonesia. The first one is employment. How to use AI without, replacing, the human labor. Now Indonesia has like a big pool of workers, so the government should, regulate AI in order not to affect, the workers. Also, in terms of education, this is something very important because AI now is replacing a lot of educational programs in formal schools. And of course, the most important is, how to make people, literate and aware of AI-generated false news and hoaxes. So this is something that we need to take into account. Next. So what I want to say here is that if we decided to use AI, it has to base on the social trust, not only in the technology, but also in the institutional government. Okay? So we need to build a trust in institutions so that this institution can regulate artificial intelligence more properly. Next. And 3 takeaway points I would like to highlight here. The first one is that digital technology is always embedded in our institutions. So when we want to do digital transformation, it has to start with the institution and human organization. And the impact of digital technology is not determined by the features of the system, but also by socioeconomic condition and institutional structures. And the last one is that if you want to create a productive digital transformation, then we need strong institutions that is trustworthy and have the capacity to execute digital transformations in a way that will benefit the Indonesian people. And it has to be open-minded and has to take social justice into considerations. And next, and I think that's it. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Professor Sulfikar, for the insights. Last point, I think it's very important that the digital technology embedded in our institutions. So it's interesting concept, and also he mentioned that digital technology has kind of two-sided. There is opportunities that it can provide Indonesia with digital economy, but at the same time, it has like sort of a dark side that we need to, let's say, manage. So, oh, by the way, you mentioned about the Twitter account. I'm your follower. Following your comments on X, very interesting.
Thank you.
Okay, now we are going to have like Q&A sessions, but before I let audience to ask questions, allow me to ask, because you already mentioned about AI, and I think a couple of speakers also mentioned about the AI, and I think one question's about how would you see that artificial intelligence affect our society, specifically on the Muslim society? I mean, like, what will it bring, like, not only opportunities, but also the dangers, perhaps. So, and how can we mitigate or can we navigate with this terra incognita? I mean, like, like this area that we even do not know how to manage this artificial intelligence. So I would like to start from Prof. Sulfikar, please.
Oh, okay, thank you. Is this because I came very late?
Not a punishment.
It's a punishment. Okay, thank you. So AI is a very expensive technology, and it takes billions of US dollar to create an AI company. OpenAI that launched, ChatGPT. How many of you are using ChatGPT? 1, 2, 4. How many of you pay the subscription? Okay, it's going to be fully paid. Okay. So yeah, OpenAI is one of the largest AI company, and the investment that's already took to create these, services, probably around, 10 billion US dollars now. Okay, so, and no, 100 billion US dollar. Right? So, and there are other companies like Grok and Gemini and etc. that are also going to the same directions. But if you look at the largest AI companies, it's gonna be only a few that will dominate the AI world. And they're the one who control the data, they're the one who produce knowledge, and they're the one who tell us what to do. Okay? So we're seeing an increasing unequal structure of global society that is dominated by AI. And especially in countries like Indonesia, where a lot of people, the populations, are active user of AI, they have like a blind faith in AI. Everything they ask AI, and get answer, they just take it, as it is. Okay. The fact is that all of the informations and knowledge produced by AI is based on existing knowledge that we produce. But there will be a time, maybe in next 5, 10, or 20 years, where AI produce knowledge from its own logic, right? And if we reach that point, we don't know what is true, what is not. Because now everything is created by AI, artificial knowledge, right? And so the implication for Indonesian society is huge, especially in terms of the economy and politics. So that's the implication. So we need to be careful of that.
Thank you, Prof. Zulfikar. Let's wait. Pak Menteri is coming. So,
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Minister of Religious Affairs of Indonesia, His Excellency Prof. Nasaruddin Umar, along with his company, the Secretary General of the Ministry of Religious Affairs, Prof. Kamaruddin Amin, Director General of Islamic Education, Prof. Suyitno, and the Echelon 1 officers that I cannot mention one by one. Your Excellency, if we may, we are currently at a Q&A session to the plenary session of the second day of AICIS Plus 2025. To Pak Teguh Yudo, please continue.
thank you. Izin Pak Menteri, kita sedang diskusi soal AI, jadi little bit hot topic. So, thank you for coming to our campus. So, Professor Zulfikar, it's very interesting that you seems very pessimistic about the AI and its impact on society.
It's not that I'm pessimistic, I'm skeptical.
Okay.
That's different. I'm very critical. And you're asking about the impact of AI on religion, right? Not only Islam, but also other religions. It is very, very possible that within maybe 20, 30 years, a new religions will be generated by AI. Yeah. So AI will create a new religions and everyone believes it. Because their life is so much embedded in AI algorithms and AI codes. So everything that comes from AI, they believe it. And this is where our society will be dominated by the system.
Thank you. Very interesting. I would like to let Professor Aquadus to perhaps explore a little bit. You also mentioned also about AI as well on resilience. Please.
Okay, thank you. Well, I have slightly different view. Of course, I'm skeptical. So there is upside of it and there's downside of it. Okay, I can say that as a researcher, using AI has really increased my productivity by many times. Many times. Like in the past, I used to use my library resources to look for articles and reports and so on, and also Google Scholar. I don't do that anymore. I use AI, but I double check. I double check because especially ChatGPT 5 is very, very good. So what I get from ChatGPT 5, probably 90% of those are correct. 10% will be will be wrong, so you have to double check. And the main thing is, you have to know what you're doing. If you blindly use AI and what it says, then it's a danger. You have to know your subject matter quite well, and if you know that, then using AI will really increase your productivity by many fold. But there is a downside of it. I was listening to a CNN report of one of the books. I think the title is Empire of AI. Okay, and it said, the big companies, their energy uses is so huge just to maintain the AI capability. And they say that right now, the American state of California, the kind of energy they're using, the big AI company is using the same amount.
I see.
In a decade or so, it will be 4 times of that. And there's a problem with that because most of the energy sources, they're now using fossil fuel.
Yeah.
And unless something is done with that, then really it will be a problem in terms of sustainability and so on. But as an individual, if you use it, with a progressive mind, if you know your subject matter, if you don't just depend on AI, okay, like, when AI becomes a religion, as my speaker said, that is a problem. That is a problem. So you don't get dominated by AI. You have to dominate AI.
Yeah.
Okay? Get what it has to say, then double check, then make your own judgment.
Thank you, Professor Aquadus. Let's Pak Fajar.
Just a brief response to your questions, Dr. Yudo. I think the terms that it suitable in when we are talking about the AI, I think you have to utilize it responsibly. So I agree with like Professor Quadus that I think like we are the one who have to drive the AI, not the AI drive us, in order to in the context of make an argument, makes any insight related to the AI. So for me, we have to utilize it properly. So basically, we as an economist, I think we also quite afraid because we are afraid that AI could replace us as an economist to conduct a projection. So, but again, we have to, so AI basically is a tools. So perhaps, we can utilize the AI in order to, hopefully sharpen or at least as a partners or colleague to, to discuss. So, thank you.
Thank you. Professor Hamrila, please.
Okay, from my view, I think as an academician, from the academic perspective, maybe we can see from the realism perspective, might be hard for us to find the real us or the real people because AI is doing something on behalf of us. At the end, the worry is like, what is musician if they couldn't come up with their own music? Everyone can claim anything with the AI assistance, but at the end, it is very hard for us to see the real talent, which is the true talents, the true ones that we want to really find. It's getting us more confused. And also in terms of the humanity and humanism, it is a big call for all of us to really find a measure to check on what should we do, maybe for us as a leader, maybe in shaping our new generation. I mean, as a mother or in terms of women empowerment, we couldn't be left behind. How we can shape our children if we never know? It is about the art of managing. It is a big task for all of us, especially women. We have to know a lot of things, the pro and cons of all these AIs, because we want to safeguard our children. We want to prepare them with all the pro and cons. I think that's all.
Thank you, Professor Hamrila. Thank you. So unfortunately, the time is up. We don't have further any Q&A session. And please, we end this session and please give big round of applause to our excellent speakers. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And I hand over to MC. Thank you.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you very much, Dr. Teguh Yudo Wicaksono, and to all the plenary speakers. You may stand, and we ask for the documentation team to take a quick picture together. Pak Yudo and speakers, please remain on stage and we'll have a quick picture. Yes. Okay. To the media team. Thank you very much. A round of applause to all the speakers and the moderator of the session. Before we proceed to the next agenda, we'll ask for the event organizer to clear the stage for a podium, as we will have a special address by His Excellency, the Minister of Religious Affairs of Indonesia, Prof. Nasaruddin Umar. Ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the pinnacle of AICIS Plus 2025. Everyone, please welcome, with a generous round of applause, His Excellency, the Minister of Religious Affairs of Indonesia, Prof. Nasaruddin Umar.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. I have many reasons I cannot come here, but I am really interested for this topic and also for all of you. We just landed from Vatican and directly here because I love for all of you, especially distinguished speaker. And inshallah, 12 o'clock, I will leave here to Makassar. So I am very busy today. But allow me I have 4 recommendations for all of you. The first time, I would like to inform you, we have a special meeting together with Pope yesterday afternoon, and I asked them to continue our a program in secular declarations, and he really interesting also. And inshallah, in December, he want to send special team from I don't know what time exactly, but I think the last or the 1st January in the next month. But we have to preparing everything. And for this session also, I would like to inform you the position of President Prabowo. I don't know. When I was in there, lot of people come together with me and asking about regarding the program of President Prabowo, especially the after conflict in Israel and its neighbors, how Indonesian program after conflict in Middle East country. I think we have to preparing also. For me, many country interested to show Indonesia as the very important solutions, not in the Middle East country. Why? You know, because there is no one Muslim country in the Middle East country can think independent regarding the post-conflict in Israel and Gaza today. Many of them show Indonesia as the very good country to handle these issues in the future. And the second one, I would like to invite also to give me many proposals, give me many things regarding the eco-theology. For me, I'm really interested to see our global theology in our today's. I believe God more feminine God than masculine God. Especially in Islam, we can count how many Asmaul Husna. There are 99 beautiful names of God. 80% of them are feminine God and very, very useful in the Quran. But only several names of God as a masculine name, Jalaliyah name. Majority of them are a feminine or Jamaliyah name. So we conclude Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala more than feminine God than masculine God. And of course also the Holy Book, especially in the Quran, you can see in each page of the Quran lot of feminine name of God. For example, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, Ar-Rahim, more than 100. There are 114 times in the Quran. And Ar-Rahman, 57 times in the Quran. And a lot of feminine name of God also very useful in the Quran. And also, of course, all the prophets are feminine prophets. There is no masculine prophet in the Quran. But very interestingly, why the people today more masculine or hyper-masculine people. So we have to change our theology today. This is a new issue from me, from masculine theology to feminine theology. So we need demasculinization of theology today, not only for Muslim theology, but also another Muslim also. We need a feminine theology in the future. How to transform our traditional theology from masculine theology to feminine theology. So this is one issue. And the third issue I would like to inform to you also. Let me ask you to help us, especially from Indonesia, how to empower our Islamic economy. I mean Islamic economy in Indonesia, pundi-pundi Islam. You know, we have a lot of budget, not or efficient in Islamic perspective Indonesia. The popular only the zakat and only wakaf. Zakat and wakaf, we have many resources behind zakat and wakaf. You can imagine if we read many internet today, especially if you compare Muslim country like Jordan and also Kuwait and Turkey, very, very intensive to find Muslim budget from the Muslim itself. Like dam, 2020, 220,000 people Hajj of Indonesia. If you can imagine, if we find dam from them and then you use Indonesia, apa kalau kambing dam itu ya? Iya, 220,000 jamaah haji can save their money in Indonesia. Don't bring to Saudi Arabia. For all of them, we can find more than 600 million rupiah. 600 miliar rupiah we can find from the dam every year. And the second one, how many people cannot fasting because of age? 7%, the population of Indonesia over than 80. And we can imagine very difficult to do in fast. And according to Sharia, they have to pay fidyah. If we collect the fidyah from the Muslim people in Indonesia, more than 2 trillion rupiah. And one survey also count how many people making love on the day of Ramadan. So they have to pay kafara. We can find more than 5 million rupiah each Ramadan. And also kurban. If we organize a kurban in Indonesia, we can collect money more than 32 trillion rupiah. And if you collect also how many people, after birth, given the name, for example, in many traditions in Indonesia, a lot of budget for them. Apa itu namanya kalau akikah ya? What is the English of akikah ya? Say akikah. To akikah, we can collect the money more than 12 trillion each year. You can imagine. And another lukata, there are more than 20 billion rupiah in bank today, because we don't know who is the owner of that. Maybe the husband cannot protect his money from his husband, but after that, still in bank today. According to one research, more than 20 trillion rupiah still in banking today. And bank cannot be proactive to looking for who is the address, who is the ahli waris from that. Because it's dana murah. Now, if we collect for all the budget for Muslim people, we can collect the money only for Muslim people more than 1,000 trillion each year. You can imagine how many tax last year, only 1,200 billion rupiah. But if we can find the budget for Muslim, raksasa tidur, we can find more than 1,000. Okay, maybe 50% we can find 500 billion rupiah. 500 billion rupiah very important and very, very important for us as Muslim people, majority Muslim people in Indonesia today. The extreme poverty in Indonesia only to 20 million people. They need 25 trillion rupiah. You can imagine, only 25 trillion they need to eliminate poverty in Indonesia. And we have money more than 500 trillion rupiah. So let me ask you, please give me the reason how to collect the Muslim money from the people. If we, not only for Muslim people, but non-Muslim also. You can imagine, if Catholic, Protestant, Hindu, Buddha, and Konghucu, everything collect their money from the Ummah and for Ummah, from the Ummah and for Ummah. I think the tax from the government not necessarily using for them. The budget from the government, we can build the many building and many infrastructure. For Muslim poverty, we can use the budget from Muslim people, and also for Catholic poor poverty, they can use also from their money. So the position of worship house like mosque and also church and worship house another, if they collect the money from their ummah, I think the position of tax from the government we can change, not using for the poverty, but the budget from ummah itself can resolve their problem. So this is, I mean, if you're thinking, if your proposal, if you have concept to this one, please contact me. I think in the future we can, one of the best Muslim country can organize the budget from the Muslim. From many, according to my book, you can read my book. There are 27 Muslim resources from the Muslim people, like luqata, hiba, wasiat, zakat, infak, hiba, wasiat, and luqata, qurban, and include mudaraba, musharaka, wadi'ah. 27 potential budget for the Muslim people. Too big. And inshallah in the future, maybe next year, President Prabowo also show one very good place in the center of Jakarta. He will build 40 floor for LPDU, Lembaga Pemberdayaan Dana Umat. And Zakat Center, Wakaf Center, everything there. And if we success to collect money from the Muslim people, I think the budget from the Islamic institution really easy to make many programs. So the last one, I would like to inform to you. Let give me also the proposal. The problem, our problem today in Indonesia, according to my opinions, we still problem regarding the integration of knowledge. If we read the history, before 12 and 58, before Baghdad attack from the Hulagukan, there are very good integration of knowledge there. There is no difference between ilmu umum, public knowledge, and religious knowledge at that time. You can see 28 Muslim scholars at that time, between 700 until 12 and 58. All of them very integrated, very comprehensive their knowledge. You can read, for example, the father of chemistry, Jabir bin Hayyan. Not only as a very famous regarding the chemistry, but he also a Sufi. Ibn Rushd. Yeah. In the morning, he is very expert regarding the medicine, ahli bedah. And 12 until 2 until 3 o'clock, he has a clinic, a philosophical clinic there. And in the afternoon, he is a qadi. And the night, he has also a Sufi practices. Al-Khurasan, Al-Khawarizmi. Al-Khawarizmi, not a mathematician, but also he is a Sufi also. He is a philosopher also. But after Baghdad attack, there are separate between ilmu umum, public knowledge, and religious knowledge. So we need in the future the new Baitul Hikmah in this time. And very difficult to imagine Baitul Hikmah, the new Baitul Hikmah in Middle East country. There are Israel, very important country. All the neighbor of Israel, there is no concentration for scientific approach. If we want to study regarding the Islamic methodology, you have to go to Singapore. If you want to study deeply in Sharia law, you have to go to the Malaysia. If you want to study tafsir and hadith, you have to go to Indonesia. So this is the Baitul Hikmah, not only one place, but we can share in other country, especially in Southeast Asia. So this is a recommendation in my meeting last week. And I explained also to my colleague in Vatican yesterday also. We have a special meeting for Muslim country there. And they agree Indonesia, the center of new civilization in the future. According to them, Indonesia, the only one country today is very safe to concentrate, to explain, and to promoting the Islamic civilizations. They see regarding the economic stability and also political stability, and of course we are so far from Israel. So this is very important point according to my colleague in many countries in our meeting yesterday. So I come here to meet you, just want to inform you, please use this triple U to think it together how to preparing the new civilization, how to preparing of Islamic new civilization in the future. I believe this conference also we can conclude a very good conclusion, especially to preparing the future of Muslim people. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you very much, Your Excellency, Minister Professor Nasaruddin Umar. If I may, please remain on stage, Minister, as our rector will present a book. Now, this book, titled Gender Equality Arguments, is written by the minister himself, Prof. Nasaruddin Umar, but published under UIII Press. So we're really proud to publish this piece of work. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. To the media team. Yes. You may proceed to take documentation. Okay.
This book, 2023, being the winner of the award, especially the study of gender, and Rockefeller Foundation invited me to Milan, Italy, to concentrate there for 3 months because of this book. If you have time, please read this book. I think this is the first book discussing regarding the gender perspective in the Holy Quran. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum.
Thank you, Minister.
And allow me to go to the airport now because we have to go to the
one more
Alcazar.
picture, if that's okay with the audience. So to all the media team, please get up on stage. We'll have a group picture. To all the audience, please stand so we can see you. Right. Okay. Okay. To the media team, please proceed. Okay, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. One more picture on the stage so that we can get the AICIS logo. Oh, okay. We'll have a interview. Okay, a doorstop interview to all the journalists here. In case you want to ask anything, please, this is your time. Go ahead. Yeah. Boleh pakai bahasa Indonesia untuk bertanya. Dipersilakan kepada wartawan.
Iya, cepat deh, cepat.
Pak Menteri izin, Fahmi dari Times Indonesia. Setelah Pak Menteri pulang dari Vatikan, ada informasi apa yang bisa di-share ke teman-teman media, pertemuannya terkait apa dan hal-hal lainnya terkait hubungan antara Indonesia dengan Vatikan sendiri. Makasih Pak Menteri.
Iya, pertama saya berterima kasih ya karena satu-satunya diberikan kesempatan untuk bisa menziarahi Paus Franciscus kemarin itu hanya saya dari Indonesia ya, yang semuanya dari negara yang lain tidak diperkenalkan untuk masuk di makamnya itu ya. Setelah saya perlihatkan foto saya berciuman dengan Paus dan dia mencium tangan saya ya. Nah itu ternyata tiket masuk untuk bisa diberikan. Iya. Dan Paus yang kedua ini Paus Leo tidak mau kalah juga. Diberikan kesempatan juga untuk melakukan hal yang sama. Ya. Dan saya juga bisa dilihat itu ya. Tapi bukan itu yang penting buat saya ya. Yang penting adalah statement daripada Paus kemarin itu setelah kami berbincang-bincang. Jadi kalau kita lihat pidatonya Paus itu hampir semuanya itu mengambil alih isu-isu yang kita lontarkan di Istiqlal Declaration. Misalnya ada kata-kata yang menarik dari beliau bahwa there is no holy war, the only peace war. Tidak ada perang suci, yang ada hanya kedamaian suci. Jangan mensucikan perang, yang harus disucikan adalah perdamaian itu sendiri. Yang kedua juga Paus menganggap perlu menggunakan bahasa agama di dalam menyelamatkan lingkungan. We have to use in religious languages to save our environment. Without religious languages, it's very difficult to save our environment. So this is the second point from the Pope. And the third one, we need collaboration each others. Agama apapun juga, kepercayaan apapun juga, sudah waktunya kita harus melakukan bergandengan tangan menyelesaikan persoalan kemanusiaan. Yang paling sering disebut adalah dehumanization of society today. Nah, insya Allah Indonesia mendapatkan tempat yang sangat terhormat dan insya Allah dalam waktu dekat ini Indonesia dipercaya oleh Paus untuk mengembangkan perekonomian umat. Jadi ekonomi umat nanti ini disahuti juga. Sudah saatnya kita menggantikan sistem ekonomi yang mengeksploitasi manusia itu ya. Nah kalau kita baca pernyataan di Paus Benedikti yang lalu, ya mereka sangat fasih berbahasa tentang konsep mudharabah musyarakah. Kita bisa lihat di Law Observatoria, sebuah majalah resmi Vatikan, kata Paus bahwa hanya perbankan syariah Islamlah yang mampu menyelamatkan, memanusiawikan ekonomi dunia. Ya. Jadi kalau sistem perbankan sekuler yang dipakai, itu tidak bisa menyelamatkan kemanusiaan. Dibutuhkan sistem ekonomi syariah untuk menyelamatkan dunia kemanusiaan, terutama dalam bidang perekonomian. Jadi dunia lain mengagumi dunia Islam, konsep-konsep Islam, dan saya juga sampaikan kepada agama lain, jangan terancam dengan kita mempopulerkan istilah syariah, perbankan syariah, sebab di Inggris, ya sekarang satu tren ekonomi syariah, di Jepang juga ekonomi halal, sampai di Italia pun di All Italy itu semua masakannya itu makanan itu adalah halal. Jadi halal itu bukan fenomena agama, tapi fenomena bisnis. Nah, jadi saya kira ini gayung bersambut. Mari kita ciptakan satu konsep kepada teman-teman semuanya, bagaimana supaya konsep syariah ini bisa diaktualisasikan menjadi suatu konsep global yang justru ditunggu-tunggu oleh dunia kemanusiaan kita sekarang ini. Terima kasih. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. You may a round of applause to the minister as he leaves the premises. Ladies and gentlemen, we're close to 12 o'clock, and now we will have a lunch break at the procession hall, 3rd floor. Kindly note that after lunch, we will continue to have breakout sessions at the faculty buildings. The sessions will be completed around 5 p.m., and we cordially invite you to return to the lecture hall here to attend the closing ceremony of AICIS Plus 2025. In case of uncertainty of the schedule, please reach out to our organizing committees present throughout the venue. See you again in the evening. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay. To all the rectors of PTKIN, kami mohon untuk maju ke depan agar kita foto bersama dulu.